Hey folks, so I know what you're thinking. This is probably way too early to be talking about this. You're probably already in the comment section typing, this guy is an absolute idiot. Well, you're not completely wrong about that. But you know what? If I spent millions of dollars and my return on investment is off to a bad start, I'm going to be pretty cheesed off. So in this video, I'm going to go over a few free agent signings, a couple of trades that have gotten off to bad starts. Let's go talk about it. Let's start off with Eugenio Suarez. Third base was a bit of a black hole for the Diamondbacks last year. They were running out guys like Evan Longoria, Emmanuel Rivera, not a whole lot of offensive production. So this offseason, they went out and acquired Eugenio Suarez from the Mariners. Now, it didn't take a whole lot to get him, but so far, not off to a good start. Only hitting .222, a .309 on base, a .333 slugging, only an 83 WRC plus, a couple of home runs. Now, last year, Eugenio Suarez had 22 home runs, 96 RBIs. I thought this move was being overrated a little bit because he wasn't really a complete offensive player. Only hit .232 last year, a .391 slugging. So, to me, he will, come around with the power eventually, but these are not numbers that you want to see to start off the year. Let's move on to Carlos Santana. So the Twins lost a few bats through free agency this offseason, most notably Joey Gallo, Michael Taylor, Donovan Solano was a decent bat for them. Over 40 home runs combined between Gallo and Taylor last year. So the move they made to replenish that was Carlos Santana, and well, this is off to a dreadful start. He's only hitting .133, a .224 on base, a .150 slugging, a 12 WRC plus. What the heck is going on here? He is hurting this team right now. A negative 0.5 Fangraph WAR. This is looking like a terrible signing. Let's talk about Red Sox legend Hunter Renfro. The Royals are off to a pretty good start this year. They made a bunch of moves this offseason, with Hunter Renfro being one of them, but not off to a good start. Only hitting .164, a .227 on base, a .311 slugging, a 51 WRC plus. He is also affecting this team, a negative 0.4 Fangraph WAR. Last year had some decent numbers, had 20 home runs, but not really a great slash line. Only hit .233, a .297 on base, a .416 slugging. So, people are thinking, hey, this guy's going to add some decent pop, but it's not really there so far. Let's move on to Gary Sanchez. I feel like we've been talking bad about Gary Sanchez for a while now, but last year had himself a renaissance with the Padres, ended up becoming Blake Snell's personal catcher, and was a very productive player for them. Had 19 home runs, he slugged .500, also played some good defense, and hey, we all saw how Blake Snell pitched. Everything was working out. Then he signed with the Brewers this offseason, and my goodness, this is not looking good. He needs to go back to San Diego pronto, but only hitting .152, a .176 on base, a .273 slugging. I mean, we all know the deal with Gary Sanchez. The guy just hits bombs, so when you're seeing a slugging of .273, that's not looking good for him. The defense is not looking like what it looked like last year, so hopefully he can start bringing the power here to Milwaukee. Let's talk about Robert Stevenson. We've been getting a lot of injuries with pitchers this year, and Robert Stevenson was one of them. He was the Angels' biggest addition this past offseason, and he was supposed to help out that Angels bullpen in a big way. I mean, look at these numbers. After a few games with the Pirates, he went to the Rays, and he just dominated. A 2.35 ERA, a 2.45 FIP. He had 14 strikeouts per nine, under 2 walks per nine. That's a crazy strikeout to walk ratio, but we found out recently he has an elbow injury. He's going to miss the entire year. Signed a 3-year deal, AAV of $11 million per season. That is a huge blow. Again, a lot of guys have been getting hurt, but in the end, the fact that you're spending this much money on a guy and he's not even going to be able to pitch for you, that's looking like easily one of the worst signings so far. Hey everyone, real quick, just want to shout out today's sponsor, and that's BetUS. So last week I made 3 game picks and I hit on all 3. So far this year I'm 3-0 and I'm feeling pretty good. I'm looking at the slate of games for tonight, and one game I got my eyes on, we got the Mets and the Giants, and the Giants right now are favored at -110. The Mets are even, but I'm looking at this matchup. We got Jose Quintana going up against Keaton Winn. Quintana's off to a good start this year, 3.05 on the ERA. ERA. And taking a look at the Giants against left-handed pitching, 19th in WRC plus with a 98 against lefties. So you know what? The Mets, they're hot lately. They had a good week last week. They swept the Pirates. They won 2 out of 3 against the powerhouse Dodgers. Quintana's off to a good start. I'm liking the Mets in this one. So right now the Mets are even. So if you throw down $50, that would win you $50. I think that's a pretty good value based off of all the games on today. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm looking to go 4-0. Go see what you can do. Go throw down a bet. Go win yourself some cash. And hey, it really helps support the channel if you go sign up. The link is in the description down below. You get a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits. Take advantage of that. That is a great deal. Go check it out. But everyone, let's get back to the rest of the video. Speaking of elbow injuries, let's talk about Kenta Maeda. The Tigers made a lot of veteran signings this past offseason, Kenta Maeda being one of them. He missed all of 2022 after getting Tommy John, came back last year with the Twins, and he pitched pretty well. 20 games started, 21 games overall, 104 to third innings pitched, a 4.23 ERA, FIP at a 4.02, 10 strikeouts per 9, 2.4 walks per 9. Very solid ratio right there, but off to an abysmal start. 4 starts so far, ERA of a 7.64, FIP at an 8.36. He is giving up 3.5 home runs per 9 right now. This is absolutely terrible. Also, another guy on this list with a negative Fangraph WAR, a negative 0.5. Something has got to turn around here because this was a guy that was supposed to give them some solid innings at the middle of the rotation. Let's move on to Eduardo Rodriguez, another Red Sox legend on this list, but also another player on this list who caught the injury bug. Eduardo Rodriguez last year with the Tigers was really good. 26 starts, a 3.30 ERA, FIP at a 3.66, 8.4 strikeouts per 9, 2.8 walks per 9, under a home run per 9. So he ended up signing a 4-year, $80 million deal, $20 million per season with the Diamondbacks, and he has not pitched yet so far. Started off the year dealing with some issues with his lat on the 15-day IL, but now he has been transferred to the 60-day IL. Had a bit of a setback there, so who knows when we see Eduardo Rodriguez pitch, but this guy's making $20 million per season, and it's not looking good, you know, whether or not he's going to be able to pitch in the foreseeable future. And yet another Red Sox legend on this list, but another player who couldn't avoid the injury bug, and that's Lucas Giolito, which was a bit surprising considering this guy has been a workhorse in his career. If you go back to 2018, he's made his starts every single year, but this past spring, his elbow gave out. Didn't need to get Tommy John, getting an internal brace procedure done instead, so he should be back in less time, but still a brutal blow to the Red Sox rotation that really needed innings coming into this year. Luckily, the rotation is looking amazing without him so far, but who knows, maybe that could come back to bite him later on in the year. This is a guy who got a 2-year deal, 19.3 on the AAV per year. He could have opted out after this year, so most likely he's going to opt back in for 2024, but still, when you're just looking at, you know, the results and what you're paying, I mean, obviously you're not getting any results, so you're basically just throwing $19 million down the drain. So yeah, pretty bad signing overall. Let's talk about Josh Hader, and it's not just Josh Hader that's off to a bad start. It's the Astros in general. At the time of this recording, they have a record of 7-16. That's their worst start since 2016. They've been one of the best teams in baseball for a while now. 7 straight American League Championship Series. So to see a record like this is absolutely bonkers to me. But Josh Hader, they brought him in this past offseason to bolster the back end of that bullpen. They already had Ryan Presley there, who was an awesome closer for them. So to add Hader to that bullpen, it looked nasty there with Hader, Presley, Abreu, and all three are off to a pretty rough start. But Hader, you know, a 5-year, $95 million deal. These are not the numbers that we were expecting to see. 11 games so far, 9 2/3 innings pitched, an ERA of 8.38. The FIP does look a lot better at 2.79, but that strikeout to walk ratio, it is not looking good. You know, almost 15 strikeouts per 9 looks great, but 4.6 walks per 9, that's around what he was doing last year, but he's not getting the same results. You know, if you take a look at the game log here, he had 1 outing, he gave up 4 runs against the Braves, gave up a run last time against the Nationals, you know, a few bumpy outings a little earlier. So we're just not seeing the results that we were expecting to see, and not just for Hader, but the Astros too. And last but not least, let's talk about Blake Snell, and his terrible start so far has earned him the nickname Blake Smell on this channel. But you know what? This is what happens when you sign so late in the offseason, so a lot of blame can go to Scott Boras as well, but he had a big offer from the Yankees earlier in the offseason. He should have just taken that, but he signed late with the Giants, a 2-year, $62 million deal. He's making a lot of dough per year, has a player option after this year, but he might end up exercising that player option because these numbers are looking terrible. 3 starts so far, 11 2/3, an ERA of 11.57, a FIP of 4.66. Doesn't really look all that much better. You know, sure, 9.2 strikeouts per 9, that's not bad, but that's way down from what we were seeing over the last few years. You know, sure, the walks are a little down, but my goodness, these are terrible numbers so far, and it's looking like easily the worst signing of the offseason so far. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Were there any other signings that aren't looking too good in your opinion that I didn't talk about here? Let me know in the comments. But that's all I have for this video, everyone. If you can on the way out, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll talk to you next time.